let me start from the statement that some say that European security architecture has collapsed since Russia moved into Ukraine, and say that I only partly agree to that statement. I would agree that trust has collapsed. Some red lines of not annexing other countries' territory is not more a red line. I would agree that both UN and OSCE are not capable of doing anything. But I would say two pieces of European security architecture that are very important to us still remain, and that is both NATO and EU. So it's still there, and that was the piece probably the Russians wanted to go away the first, but these two pieces have become stronger through the Ukrainian crisis. But I see them as two elements that are interlinked and to be seen in the context of one another. And I agree with yesterday's panel's talk, where Julian was moderating, that military capability is important to prevent Russian further moves. And that is a problem for Helsinki and Stockholm. They don't have NATO. And probably I wouldn't say they should be very scared during their nights. They are strong countries. But they don't have that guarantee. And as far as I've heard, Russians would go at lengths to make it very hard for Finland and Sweden to join NATO right now. So they've not used the opportunity at the time when it was comparatively easy. Then, now, when there might be more of a reason and some part of population might start to agree with that, it is becoming more difficult. So I would say they are in more difficult situation than they should have been if they made the right choices, if I may put it that way. Because, as I said, I believe the military element is important. Then I think another element is also very important in this context, and that is this crossing of red lines is not only the thing that will have a consequence here in the Baltic Sea region or in Europe. Many others are watching what's going to happen. That's been long since a major international player has dared to cross the borders in such a manner. And I think there are many that have some sense of the revisionism around the globe, and they are seeking what would be the West's answer and what would be the price Russia pays for crossing that line. And if the conclusion from this observation is it's not that high and you can get away with it, I think this blurred picture will become even very dark picture, because that would open many doors that would be interested to revise the existing status quo and would make our lives, and I would agree we should not just look at Ukraine, it's only one piece of a puzzle, even more complex, even more insecure. And another thing I think is also important to understand, Ukraine is just one piece of the sequence in events. You have Georgian War, you have Ukraine, you have the relationship with other Russian post-Soviet relationships with other post-Soviet states. It is a sequence of events, and we have to approach it not through the angle of just Ukraine. We have to look at a wider spectrum. The other point, I think, is that's why Ukraine is important. The way we will be able to solve this crisis will determine how much appetite Russia and other potential revisionist powers will have in the future. And I I think it is difficult to say how we'll pass that test. And that will have immediate implications for our region as well. Well, first, yes, we'll be in a region where there's a border between where there is an architecture of security, both NATO and EU, and where is the revisionist power seeking to change these borders. So it'll be a tense situation for the time to come. But I think the most difficult it will be for the other post-Soviet states, because they don't belong to that architecture. And if Russia succeeds, there'll be more instability, and that instability will come to haunt us in one way or another. So what we have to really look at the way we respond to it. And I would say the strategy is of our response as NATO, as EU. We have to combine hard power with soft power as much as possible, and hard power being a very important element, specifically talking about strong deterrence capability in the areas where it matters, in the Baltics, in Poland, in the Baltic Sea region. Strong soft power capability. I include there, of course, economic power, and I think we will have to look that sanctions are looked in a long-term context. We have to look at the other elements, and I very much am a proponent of the need to raise our ability in the information sphere, in the battle for the people's minds, that we've sort of neglected or have taken for granted, and the other side has taken it as a good possibility for them. I think there has to be a debate, and I would certainly promote that the societies of Sweden and Finland actually talk about their NATO memberships, because I think that's in our all general interest to have these countries part of NATO. And I think another part of a strategy, we have to pay serious thought and action to those countries that are our Eastern partners, and not just with the words, but with actual help in the military area, in the economic area, in the state building area. Of course, we've tried to do a lot of that, and many countries have not been very successful, especially in the latter. But I think everybody has to understand that the strategy Russia has employed versus Ukraine works with the weak states. So that's their own interest in a very short period of time to become strong states, and we have to concentrate it. And we have to recognize that they are in between two strategies. The one of ours, which is of open door, through which is very difficult to get through, and the other of Russian strategy of a closed door behind which there's one bully who beats up anybody who has a different opinion, including Kazakhstan.